Bienvenidos and welcome a Cositas Mommy Never Told Me, a podcast that dives deep into the Latin cultural norms that have long haunted the feminine genre. Móntate and buckle up porque it's going to be a roller coaster ride. ¡Nos fuimos!
Hi, Diana.
Hey, did you catch that, bro?
Yes, I did.
I missed the countdown.
Do not disturb, motherfuckers. You guys may or may not know that when we're recording, we try to put our phones on do not disturb. Guess what? Even though motherfuckers still be pressing push, this person is on silent. Would you like to send it anyway? Yes.
Yes.
Push.
Don't push.
Call.
Don't push.
Again. Call one more time. Call again. Mommy, please stop calling.
Right.
What's up, D? How are you?
I'm doing well. I am excited about what we did yesterday, and I'll let you talk a little bit more about that. No, but I'm doing well.
She can't. She's so excited that if she keeps talking about it, she's going to give it away. So she's forbidden.
No, I'm not going to give it away. But I have been dealing with a sciatic nerve situation in my back, as I've been saying in my stories and on the Cosita stories. So, yeah, been dealing with that little bit of pain, sometimes a lot of pain.
Awesome.
But
you know what's crazy? You're such a fucking beast because I would never guess. Because remember yesterday you had the meds and you were waiting for them. And I was like, oh, so wait, are you in pain? And you were like, girl, I'm always in pain. And I'm like, I would have never guessed that you're in this consistent pain. I thought I had a sciatic
fibromyalgia. So we have fibromyalgia.
nerve.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I also have fibromyalgia. So, and it's not at its peak right now. I'm like, I have it, but very mildly. So that's like pain all over your body for no reason. So I miss working out for that reason exactly. When I work out, I'm sore because I work out. If I don't work out, like I have not been able to work out for 3 weeks, I'm sore and in pain for no reason. So the anxious Diana just starts saying, oh my God, what is it? Then I start going to the doctor. I start going to the chiropractor, you know. So I went to my doctor yesterday and girl, let me tell you about CVS.
Ooh.
And I'm not saying CVS as a whole company, but I'm just saying the CVS down the street from my house. So I went to the doctor at 9. The doctor called in my meds at 9:45 in the morning. I saw him do it. So I said, you know what? I'm not gonna go now. I'll give him a few hours. I go at 1. They say there's nothing here for you. I said, I saw him call it in. I saw him like with these 2 eyes. I saw him call it in. Oh, you're in the queue. I was like, oh, I'm in the queue? So how long? After 2, it was 1. I said, okay. So patient Diana, you know, because I ain't from the streets, you know what I'm saying? Even though I'm from the streets, but not, you know, I've been in the suburbs for a while. Whew, let me calm myself down.
I was like, wait.
I go get my fucking pill.
Wait, aren't you? Are we? Are we not? Not today? Okay, cool.
So I go back at 7 p.m., right?
Wait, after you left here?
After I left your house, I went to family day at my mom's house.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to go back into Windsor.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'll just take some Advil and go to my mom's house. Went to my mom's house, told my husband, yo, I got to go because I got to get these pills. Go to CVS, go inside because there was a long line outside through the drive-thru. Thank God I came inside because they said, oh, there's only 1 prescription. I said, but there's 2. And I came here at 1 and you guys know it was 2. I said, so how is it that I came here and you guys didn't have it, but then when I come here, there's only 1 that's ready. So you're going to have to get it ready. Well, there's a lot of people in front of you. I don't care. I came at 1. So then the pharmacist looked up. He was like, don't worry about it. I got it. Right?
Right.
Okay, perfect. When they came up there, I said, I need a discount.
Ooh.
And I need a discount.
Not on a pharmaceutical prescription. Y'all going to have to print out 17 of them coupons and give me a discount.
Yo, they were looking at me like, oh shit. But I was like, breathe, because these motherfuckers could have gave me the wrong medication.
These motherfuckers.
Yo, I came home and checked the fucking pills to see what they look like and everything.
Can you imagine? Like when you go to a restaurant and you're like, they gonna spit in our food. They're for
That's why I
sure
never
going to
send that
spit
shit
in our
back. I
food.
never send shit back. I don't care.
They're going to spit in our food. I send shit back all the time.
Girl.
And I check it, and sometimes I purposely send it back for something else so they can't spit in my shit. Well, they can. I mean, whatever. At this point, I'm still alive. If the bacteria is in there, we got the bacteria is in there.
It could be more than spitting that motherfucker. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, God.
Nah, but yeah, that was the craziness before I got to your house yesterday. Crazy. But anyways, back to our interview, which you guys, yes. Oh my gosh.
You guys are in for a treat. We had the opportunity of speaking to an amazing woman who is gorgeous, a bit controversial, amazing mother, entrepreneur. She is very familiar to you from social media, from TV. She's Puerto Rican, and she's just dope. So I've known her for a very long time, but I took so much joy in Diana getting to know her, because Diana already felt like she knew her. They were definitely friends in their head, so now they're officially friends. Yes, she did. There was a part when we were recording where Diana went mute, and the person we were interviewing was like, "We lost Diana," and then when Diana came back, she's like, "Oh my God, I feel so special." It was so cute, but she was so raw. She was so real. We could have talked to her for like 2 or 3 hours.
Open about anything.
Yeah. There was a few things that we didn't get to talk to her about. And she was like, mommy, whenever you want me back. So I'm so excited. That was a good interview. That'll air December 5th. And then we will run some promo around it so you guys can all get super excited.
And share it.
But I think you will leave the conversation motivated, inspired, and considering who she is, you're like, yo, fuck this. I could do this too. Like me too. Mm-hmm. Like even without the marketing outlet, I think that you can feel like you can still love. You can still build a business. You can still have been a teen mom. You can still do whatever. And I'm excited for that. We went to see Romeo.
Oh my goodness.
Tell the people about that.
Well, first of all.
Oh, also, we
DJ.
introduced on social media.
The
third member of Cositas. Alyssa's the third member for sure. Right. But this guy right here.
That's the third prop. That's the prop. Yeah. So, yeah.
But tell them about, I know, I go a little crazy. And I wonder why my daughter finds the button and drives me crazy.
Oh, but wait, when your daughter finds it, she drives you crazy. Then you're like,
yes, she's a product of her environment for sure. But tell them about Romeo and how much fun we had.
Romeo. Well, first, I want to send a shout out to DJ Mad, which is
so good.
DEEJAYMAD. He's a Dominican DJ. So good. At the beginning of the set, it was so funny because Freddie, so it was Rocio, Freddie, my husband and I, and then also Eddie and his amazing daughter Eva that went to the concert together. And Fred made it a point to say, yo, at the beginning of the set, he said, I'm going to have all of y'all standing up, waving your arms. And we were just like, we weren't skeptical, but we were just like, okay, you the DJ, hurry the fuck up, right?
His set definitely started off with a little pickup, and we were like, okay, where's this going? But how long he went? He must have gone 45 minutes.
He was out for like an hour.
Right?
Yeah.
Because he got off at 9:18 and Romeo came on at 9:20. Because I was like, oh, maybe Romeo's coming on at 9:30. Nah. He got off the set, and then in 2 minutes, Romeo was on. Yo, I'm almost feeling like they were like, sir, wrap it up.
Right. But he had he had everybody. And the thing is that they had like a video camera going around and, finding women that were, culiando or whatever. But it was all type of women, which I loved. They showed all sizes, all colors, all ages. I love that. And another thing that I loved, which I'm going to fucking tag them to this, the other thing that I loved was that they named every freaking country that they could think of that are Latinos, and people was in there deep. I was surprised that El Salvador was deep as fuck in there.
El
Salvador is deep in Boston.
deep.
Yo, and then when usually like when we went to Karol G and we went to Bad Bunny, when they say Boricua, the Puerto Ricanos, right? We go crazy. We're like, yeah, we dominating. Not in Boston. Dominicans was running the whole shit, and my husband felt right at home with his cousins.
The crazy part is the DJ kept saying all the countries, and then Carlos, Diana's husband, was like, but I don't understand. Like, we came to see Romeo, and he hasn't even called DR. But it was all a setup. Because at the end, he was like asking people to cheer, blah, blah. He was like, I think it's between Puerto Rico and Belize or something. And then Carlos is like, but I'm not understanding. He goes, wait. But I know who's the winner. And then he was like, República Dominicana. And Freddie I get chills thinking about it. You looked around and all the lights came on everybody's phone. It was crazy.
It was crazy. And I told Carlos, I said, baby, look at all your family. Your cousins are here. He's like, you're so stupid.
What is it called? The music he started playing.
Merengue típico.
Merengue. He was like, when the típico came on, I thought it was like something called tripiao. I don't know what
tripiao.
Yeah. Because it was like, it was like some real string shit. Yes, I looked over at Los and he was like, he like bent over. He was hunched. I was like, oh.
He loved that shit.
It's such a good time.
Sees him and he was born here, but he was one of those Dominican children that was sent to the Dominican Republic every summer. And he spent two months of his summer in the Dominican Republic to make sure that he didn't lose his heritage, his culture, his Spanish. So he did that for about, I want to say till he was about 10 or 11. Like once he started getting old enough to be like, okay, I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and he talks about it now and he says, thank goodness that happened because that's the way that I was able to learn and meet all of my family. Like he goes there now, forget it. He don't even got to get a car. He don't got to get a hotel or Airbnb. Everybody picking him up. He's like going from place to place to place to place to place. And I'm like, when we go, we stay at a resort.
Right.
We can visit whoever you want.
But like, I need an all-inclusive and a vacation. It's true. It's like when I go to Puerto Rico, it's like, I don't want to stay at my family's house. I'm good. I love them. I mean, on our end, we don't have a lot of family left there. My grandfather passed away. So my aunt is there and I have a few other like distant aunts, but everyone actually moved here years ago. She even moved here and then moved back. But like if I get to Puerto Rico, sometimes I never even get to see family because I'm like, now as an adult, I love exploring Puerto Rico as a whole. I've been able to like go to a bunch of places that I never thought I would go with friends or with lovers. Just kidding.
Hey. I love every time I go to Puerto Rico, I discover something new. You know what I'm saying? Even if I've been to the town or I've been like, I love seeing Puerto Rico through somebody else's eyes. You know what I'm saying? Where somebody says, well, I'm from like, I've been to the Aguadilla side, right? But when I went this last time, Jane is from Aguadilla and from that side. So she was able to bring us and say, well, this is this and this is that. And I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. I wouldn't have known that this restaurant was the best restaurant here. Or I wouldn't have known. The best way to travel is with a local. They always say that. Like the best way to travel is with a local. Like when we went to Cuba, it just so happened my sister's friend Carlos, damn, there's so many Carloses, was in Cuba and he lives in New York and he has a place, right? He has a place in Cuba. He has two places in Cuba actually that he Airbnb. So if you're ever interested in going to Cuba, but it was such a different experience because we went to different restaurants. I saw my first fully nude theatrical performance in Cuba, like full on dick hanging theatrical performance in Cuba. It was, you know what's funny? Yes. Full on nude. Exactly what you heard. Full on. In Cuba. So the one thing is that Fidel really, really loved the arts. So they do pour a lot of money into the arts and the theaters there. And he was just a huge fan of the arts in a really fucked up way.
it's like, oh wow, thank God he was a fan of the arts, because the arts is a huge thing in Cuba. But funny story from that experience, right? So we're sitting up front because Carlos knows the guy in the show with the dick out. And this lady who's sitting in front of us came.
Hold on. Talk to me.
What I'm telling you, it was my first nude, actually my first and only.
The guy was just like walking around and his shit was just flapping around.
Naked. So it didn't start that way. Obviously, it's a premise, and it's there's a plot to it or whatever, and then slowly he gets naked, nude. There's a scene that's almost like a sexual scene, but didn't become fully sexual, and then he remains naked for a very long period of time, dick out. But guess who was sitting right in front of us? His grandmother.
The guy with the dick out grandmother?
Yes, and no one had told her that. And
that was the first time that she saw her grandson.
The dick was coming out, right? So when she sees it, right? So, and we didn't know this was her in front of us until during the show. And she looks over at her family. So me and Jessica putting it together like, oh shit, wait. And she goes, ¿pero qué es esto? ¿Pero a dónde me trajeron ustedes? ¿Pero qué desgracia? Wow, she's like whispering, but Latina grandmothers, they don't know how to whisper. Right. So we're like sitting there trying not to laugh, trying to respect the art and the craft. And she is literally like, I'm looking at his dick this whole
No one warned her. They should have warned her.
So all that to say,
that's crazy.
Travel with a local so you can see mad dick. No, just kidding. It is a different experience. Like when I go to London with friends because I live there, I love going to London with friends or meeting my friends in London because I live there, so I can tell them where to go, what to do, where to stay, blah, blah, blah. But I know what you're saying about Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico, we've never seen a nude. We've never seen a nude play.
I was not brought to a nude play in Puerto Rico. Usually if I go to a male review or something like that, like I would like to go to a Magic Mike in Las Vegas.
I would love to do that.
I would love to do that, or even to go see Usher. I would love to go see Usher.
That's so funny. I told Phil, I was like, I want to find but I think that in January they're taking a break. Usher and Adele. I was like, if I could go to, because I used to have to go to Vegas like 8 times a year for trade shows when I was heavy in the fashion industry. So I haven't been to Vegas in a long time. Mind you, it wasn't like fun. I got to see the shows.
I've never been.
Oh my God, D, we have to go for like a 3-day weekend.
Okay.
Bitch, I'm serious. But now we have to figure out when Usher and Adele are doing their residency at the same time, and then catch a few Cirque shows. It's fun for the shows and the food.
I'm down.
But anyway, anywho, today's episode, we're really going to focus on boundaries. How to establish boundaries. What are boundaries? Do you have a hard time establishing boundaries? Do you think they exist? Do you have a hard time dealing with other people's boundaries? This word boundaries, I know culturally in the Latino culture is like a big faux pas. No, que carajo boundaries.
It's non-existent.
Okay.
It's non-existent.
Exactly. Like,
what do you mean boundary? My mom just drops by and gets mad at me when I'm not here. If you would call me and
you read my mind on my story.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. So boundaries, let's say with our mothers or with our families, right? So I want to say I'm semi-bi-coastal. I mostly live on the East Coast now. I'm figuring it out. As a co-parenting situation, but that's not the point. So my daughter and I get back from LA and we're home and it's a red eye and we're tired, so we're sleeping and it's I think we slept till like 1:30, and then I wake up and I realize my mom had called me. I didn't answer her back. I'm still gathering my stuff. I had to get Sophie over to my best friend's house to then do the Boss Babes on Sunday. So I literally was like, I'm tired. Bitch. My mama shows up at my house.
Yeah.
Okay? Shows up at my house. So I told Sophie, shh, be quiet. Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet.
Be quiet like the church people coming to your door.
No. Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. Because I didn't know if it was my mom or not. I was like, who is that? I had no idea if it was my mom or not. And then I hear like my neighbors who are talking or whatever. The man who owns the property we're staying in lives in the house in the back. And he's talking to someone and I'm like, could that be my mom? And then all of a sudden I hear my garage door open.
Jet.
And I was like, wait, what? So I go down and I hear my mom calling my name and I was like, oh my God, my mom. Talk about boundaries. Like, girl, I am not a child. What if I was with a boyfriend, like a man or whatever? It doesn't matter. A maintenance man or whatever I was doing. I literally came to the door and was like, hello? And she was like, hi. But then, of course, her energy is, ajá, te cogí. I'm like, cogí doing what? I'm a grown-ass woman. And then Sophie comes down the stairs, and I was like, with a 4-year-old toddler. I was like, we were sleeping. And then I looked at the guy, the owner who opened the garage, and I was like, But P.S., boundaries. You called. You came by. You could have rang the bell, but no. You have a conversation. You open my door. Like at some point, no boundaries. I just feel like, and then of course she comes in. I was literally just waking up. I was trying to pack a bag. So then I felt rude after the fact that I was like, oh, I'm tired. I'm trying to get things ready, blah, blah, blah. And she just wants to sit and chat about nothing, just like chat. And then it's like, I have to, and then it's like you're rude for like trying to multitask and get other things done and do other things. And it's like, I have to get stuff ready. Like then I had to come back here to get the ring light, to get all the tech stuff, to set it up. We were leaving at 7 a.m. the next day. But that's, parent boundary fail.
Well, all I know is that my mom did the same thing. And then, like I said, she got mad at me that I wasn't here.
Oh, right? She showed up at your house.
She showed up at my house, right? And then went back home because if you listen to the podcast, you know that she has a cell phone that I pay for on a monthly basis but doesn't use.
Never.
So she went back home and called me on my cell phone from her landline and told me, ¿Dónde tú estás? And I said, why? What happened? I'm at the grocery store or why? What happened? Because I went to your house and you weren't there. And I said, wait a minute. Did you tell me you were coming to my house?
Right.
She said, no. And I said, okay, well, yeah, you need to call me and tell me when you're coming. You can't just drop by. And she said, ay, Dios santo. And I was like, no, I'm just saying, like, you can't turn around and be mad at me because you came to my house. I didn't know you were coming. Like, I'm not just hanging around in my house. Sometimes I need to go outside and get gas, get freaking groceries, get a workout in, pick up or drop off whoever needs a ride. Like,
I mean, but even the fact that you have to go through the list of justifications of the fact that you live a life, you're a married woman with 4 kids, and it's like,
let me just sit at home and wait for my mom to get here.
It's simple. Like, you can't just be showing up at my house.
Yeah, so now, 49 years later, she knows this. Now, mind you, she's done it before. She's done it before where she just comes and I'm here and she's like, tenía que usar el baño. I got to use the bathroom. I'm like, wait a minute. What are you doing in Windsor?
You had to make a detour in Windsor to use the bathroom. I was
down the street and I need to use the bathroom.
What's down the street?
Ma, you could just come over. Like, you don't have to make up stuff to come to my house. Like, what is going on? But anyways.
But that was definitely a boundaries fail for me because that was an opportunity for me to try to have a civilized, like, I love you. I don't have a problem with him having opened the garage. She kind of
she was upset. But she listens to us. She watches.
You could tell she was a little bothered at my response, being like, "Hey," but I was more like, I wasn't upset. I was more like,
you just woke up, so you don't
I
even know
just
what's
woke
going on. You
up.
hear the
I'm putting
garage.
stuff together, but I'm also more like, did you really think this was okay? Like when he offered to open the garage, he should have been like, oh, you know what? No, it's fine. Like, because he was like, oh, she's traveling, and she's like, oh no, she's supposed to be back. I heard all that, and then I knew it was her. So as I'm coming down the stairs, by the time I'm coming down the stairs, the
The
garage is
garage door's already
opening, and I'm
opening.
like,
Right.
so of course the man is like, it's her mom. Why wouldn't I open the thing, the garage? And then she kind of alluded to like, oh no, I told him you never gave me the code, and it's like, and I'm not giving you the code. Like, no. It's not like she lives in Harvard where it's like a central location that if I'm going that way or coming this way, if I need to stop or whatever, I live out of the way. So nothing, you don't have to stop and use the bathroom here. Like there's no sense of urgency to come here. So I was like, but I missed the opportunity in that moment to try to attempt to have a more like, I love you. I have no problem that he opened the door. But if you called me and I didn't answer, I think that was enough for you to be like, all right, you know, she's unavailable or whatever. Cause it's like, mind you, I landed at 5:40 in the morning. I went and got my car. I drove from New York at 6:20. I left from Harlem, got home at 8 with a toddler in tow, by the way, exhausted, with the time difference, with daylight savings happening the next day. It's like, I just feel like all these things didn't get considered. And then she comes over and she just wants to like chat and like be present. And I'm just like, I'm tired. So she left, and I did feel guilty. I felt a little fucked up because I was a little cold with her, but it was cold mixed with confusion as to why you think it's okay to come into my house, as well as I'm tired. I'm just tired, and it's okay to be tired. And it almost like sparked this thing in me like she used to do to my sister when my sister had just had JoJo. And my mom would, like, if she came to New York and my sister didn't greet her with like a huge smile, my sister also had really bad postpartum for a long time. And my mom would walk in the door, and if my sister didn't greet her with a big enough smile, it was like, oh, well, what's wrong with you? And in my head, I'm like, you dealt with crazy postpartum with Jessica when you had her in your belly. What do you mean what's wrong with her? She has postpartum. She's raising this baby by herself. And JoJo was not a good sleeper. I said, she's fucking exhausted. But it's this sense of like, it's always about her. There's no, it's like the inability to, and I'm not saying her. I feel like a lot of times people who don't understand boundaries naturally, it's like they can't take themselves out of the situation, and instead they take it very personal. When it's like, did you take a minute to step back and think about, oh shit, you know, first of all, that's not my sister's personality, period, to be like, hi. Like, it's different. Like when I see, I'm like, hi. That's my personality. If I greet you and I'm like, hey, what's up? Then you're like, wait, something's off, you know? But you didn't take a moment to think, fuck, she has a newborn. She probably hasn't slept. Let me take the baby from her. Let me be like, girl, you need a nap? What you need? It's that missing, like, wait a minute, let me take myself out and think of what the other person is going through. It's like with her, what I try to do, and I'm not perfect, I'm a work in progress. Like when she starts to vent to me about my dad or vent to me about something that is like a consistent thing, I just listen. I've learned to just listen. I've learned that when I'm like, so leave, or like, you make this decision every single day, all it does is create this animosity that is like, you know what? At the end of the day, she's not going anywhere. So, okay, I'll just listen, you know, but that's my growth. But the boundaries thing with the mamas is crazy.
Girl. Well, boundaries, they, you know, establish who we are. They also can show like what we stand for, and it could also show what we identify with. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people, like, for instance, COVID, right? Perfect example. Motherfuckers ain't hugging like they used to hug. You know what I'm saying? So there's that boundary, right? They needed that 6 feet. They wanted people to stand away the 6 feet, and that's just on that COVID, right?
But by the
it
way,
also protects.
do you feel like when COVID started and that 6 feet boundary, don't you feel like it was a little difficult at the beginning because we're so used to making
Interaction and
ourselves
touching and
comfortable
hugging.
in people's spaces that it's almost
Mm-hmm.
like it took us a minute to first of all, to not take the boundaries personal because there was motherfuckers out here like, oh, whatever, she
They
using
ain't
that
give a fuck.
COVID excuse. Right. She using that
Mm-hmm.
COVID excuse. Fuck that. And it's like, that's a great example of like,
That is
nah,
a
nigga,
great example. And let me tell you,
I don't want to get sick. I don't want to get my family sick. People out here dying.
in our family, we were like, immediately, let's get all together and create this bubble. If we get sick, we get sick because we need each other. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So immediately we were like, let's all get together, just cognizant about what's really going on. If you guys feel sick, then you don't come that day. But we kept on Wednesdays. We still had family day, but we made sure that we had that bubble. And if nobody went anywhere, we were good. But if somebody went, if somebody did go somewhere and they thought maybe they might have caught something or they had the sniffles, then they didn't come, you know, and they got tested and all that stuff. But it was amazing. But to me, I think
were you guys successful at it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, I hosted, my sister hosted, so it also gave us an outlet so we can go get out the house.
Look forward
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because and let me tell you, I don't want another COVID, but it was easy to travel back then.
There was no traffic. No traffic. Yo, we took the risk
on the
and we were on
that was crazy.
We were on airplanes all the time.
Yeah,
Sophie was
a
year and we were on an airplane to Miami, which we thought would be for 2 weeks. And we were there for 3 months. And then we took a flight to California and then we came back to New York. Then we went back to California. And it was like, I really think my daughter thinks we have private planes because nobody was flying. Nobody was flying.
I have friends that were going to Puerto Rico for $19. They was like, yo, this 19. I was like, I don't know, bruh.
It was crazy. Oh, no. I mean, for us, we were going to like Phil's parents, or in Miami, we went for 2 weeks. We ended up staying at the house for 3 months. Jessica came with JoJo and did isolation with us, which was kind of like a vacation. It was dope. It was outside. It was a pool. We just knew that New York was out of control with a baby. She had just turned 1. But you're right. I remember the roads. There was no traffic. When we drove from New York to Connecticut, it was like, wow, this is amazing.
There's nobody on the road.
Nobody exists.
It was amazing. And the only time you ran into any type of traffic was around grocery stores.
Girl. Costco.
But I also wanted to say that there's boundaries that need to be set in different areas, right? Whether they are emotional boundaries, material boundaries, physical ones, energy. Energy is a big one for me. Mental, right? There's a lot of boundaries that need to be set. And I think that some people, as being Latinas, right? I posted, as a matter of fact, a guy, he was like, yo, I'm falling into depression. A Mexican guy. He said it in Spanish.
Oh, I saw that. I'm falling into depression.
I think I'm going to tell my parents. So then he goes and tells his parents are in the room and he goes to tell his father, I'm falling into depression. His father was like, get the fuck out of here. What you talking about depression? And then the mother's right there.
The dad goes, que chinga depresión.
Right. So then he goes to the mother and the mother looks up at him and then looks at the dad and said, what did he say? Depression? And I was like, bruh. So it's not just Puerto Ricans?
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying? No. So even that, like, it, to me, I was like, damn, it must have taken him, because you could tell in his face. I don't think it was acting. To me, it must have taken so much, and I know it takes a lot for him to even say it, right?
Yeah.
For then for the parents to react that way, it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know? But those boundaries need to be set, and those boundaries are for you. So no matter what anybody outside of you says about your boundaries, it really doesn't matter because you set them for yourself.
Yeah,
it's emotional growth, self-esteem, it can help with relationship and building them and getting rid of them when you're not, when it's not good. You know, those boundaries are set for a reason. It's like when I told that story about that guy showing his dick to my girlfriend, and she was like, "Well, fuck no, I don't care. I told you we were not fucking." You know, I had to bring it back up.
The ease that you just transitioned into. First of all, like when I told that story, remember that one story? Like we don't talk about dick on this show all the time, but the one story when he just showed my friend his dick, like, damn.
No, because I feel, right, if we're just, to me, you need things like that, right? So like that, like, yo, remember when she said about that dick story, but then I paired it with, so then they'll remember.
Yes, I love it. I love
you know
your analogies and your connections. Continue. Because it's true. Because you're like, yo, remember that story when the man showed the dick? Her right there, that was her moment to be like, I could go left or I could go right. I could be like, oh shit, like, do I continue with this because maybe I did lead him on? Or I could be like, oh, hell, this is my boundary. Hell no.
And she set the boundary before she got there. Because she said there's going to be no sex. So she set the boundary.
By the way, was she also disappointed in what she saw?
Yes.
Well.
Because he was half black and half white. And not to say that half white or whatever, but she was just like, he was definitely half white down there. But anyway.
So that helped her establish the boundary.
So she was like, I'm out. Hell no. And then he was embarrassed because he's like, oh, we were getting hot and heavy. I thought that, you know, and she's like, no, I told you that this is that. And I was like, good for you. I said, good for you. Because you set 100%. That boundary, right? So 100%. if you're setting that boundary for whatever it is, the friendship, like, bitch, I'm telling you this, but don't go tell nobody. That's a fucking boundary. If the bitch went and told somebody, guess what? She broke the boundary.
And she broke the friendship. You broke the circle of trust.
Exactly.
There is things that Diana and I know about each other that we don't know about each other. I have no idea what you talk. I have no idea what she's talking about. I have no idea what anyone's talking about. It's like I know it and it went through my brain and it's gone and it never happened and we don't know about each other. But that boundary, especially when it comes to intimate sexual relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, lover, whatever it is, for me, it's like because it's, well, I mean, even at work too, but like, I just want to encourage anyone who is in a position where they're like feeling it, you know, because I've been there where it doesn't feel good. Something isn't feeling good. Something isn't feeling right. And you know what? You need to decide to establish the boundary, to set your terms, whatever your terms are. If your term is, you know what, this no longer feels good. It's no longer what I thought. You need to figure out A, B, C, or you need to D, E, F the fuck out of here. You know, but I say that to say sometimes it takes us a while to get there because we're having this narrative in our head. Oh, but what if this? Oh, but what if that? Or what if this? And then that comes that negative self-talk of like, what if I never meet anybody else? What if this is the best that I'm going to meet? What if, you know, all the things he's saying to me without the actions are enough and that it will happen? It's like, I told Diana, I was like, we take. And then one day you wake up and you're like, you know what? Love is love, but I need to see. And if I don't see the action, marrying the words, that's a boundary. I'm setting my boundary. I'm setting my terms. I'm setting my non-negotiables. And you have to find yourself in a space where you're like, what are my granted, your non-negotiables or your boundaries could be like, you know what? We just fucking. I'm at an age where I want to get dick. I enjoy dick.
I was about to go there.
Because there's nothing wrong with it. It's like I enjoy the sexual chemistry. I enjoy this. Yes, he gets something out of it, but so do I. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was about to say, because you said about feeling, right?
Right.
So I don't want people to listen to this and be like, oh, nope, that's my boundary. That's it. Nope.
No,
because to
exactly.
Me, boundaries are flexible too. You can shift to adjust. You know what I'm saying?
They're like, not only flexible, they're so personal. They're yours.
Exactly. So to bring it back to the dude, right? And at that instance, she wasn't ready. She didn't want that, right? But it could be an instant what she wanted. and she could do it. You know what I'm saying?
There could be an instance where she ripping the dude's pants off.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So also know that it's flexible and it's catered to you, and you're the one that's controlling that. So it doesn't matter what anybody else tells you. Another thing is, like, when you're talking about boundaries, you can always be like, nope, that's my boundary, whatever, right? And you could communicate that to somebody, right? And it could change, like I said, because of flexibility, right? Because a motherfucker come back and be like, well, I thought that was your boundary. Well, guess what? It changed, bitch. And be strong in it. Be strong in it. Because you know what? Sometimes you don't even got to let people know about your boundaries. Just be like, nope, I don't want to do that. And that's it. You don't got to say, oh, that's my boundary. You could just be like, nope, I don't want to do it. And that's it. Like right now, I'm at an age where, and a lot of my friends, right, that if we plan to go out somewhere and then the day come and I'm like, girl, I'm tired. And everybody like, oh, girl, it's cool. Don't worry. You know, ain't nobody like back in the day be like, oh, you fucking Debbie Downer. You're fucking boring. You know, you whack. And then you out in the fucking club, mad as fuck, tired as fuck, feet hurt. You know, you the fucking Debbie Downer. You saying, fuck you, the motherfuckers. Let me tell you, quick story. We went to fucking Barbados, right? I was exhausted. We went on a fucking catamaran. I'm
so mad I didn't go on that trip, by the way. I can say
we went on, and it was amazing. It was a catamaran boat ride, right? So we were out there for like 6-7 hours. We come back, I got sea legs. I already know in my head, I don't want to go nowhere, right? But I let people talk me into it. My girlfriends, I love them. I let them talk me into it. We are in Barbados, girl. We got to get the best out of it, right? We go out. I am the moodiest motherfucker. I'm cussing out people from Barbados. I'm like, get the fuck out my face. They brought somebody to literally, and I never act this way, but I was so tired. They brought somebody over. My girlfriend, I met somebody, you know, that was kicking it. He came over there. He was ugly as fuck. I was like, get the fuck out my face. And he was like, what is wrong with your friend? I was like, I'm exhausted and I don't need to meet nobody. And they were all of Yo,
I know they were all like, why did we convince her to come? Because
to the point that I was like, two of y'all stand in front of me, give me like 20 minutes. I fell asleep in the corner in the fucking club. I said, I need 20 minutes. I need to sleep. I'm fucking exhausted. So then, girl, turn up time. I woke up. Girl, it was like, what the fuck?
Different person.
Bipolar. I said,
different person. Tired. Different person.
You know, but now, I don't give a fuck where I'm. I could be Barbados, fucking Paris, wherever the fuck I'm at. I'm tired, B. I'm going to sleep. Y'all can go. Don't worry about me. And they're like, okay, bye. You know? So I'm glad that I have those friends that are okay with my boundaries too. That's the shit. You got to surround yourself with people that are not going to push you to do some shit you don't want to do too. If you got a boundary, be like, nah, I ain't trying to do that. Right? I ain't trying to do that. Like, you know what my boundary is. I ain't trying to. And that is very, very important in a relationship that you're sharing fucking liquids with. Sex, in case you didn't get it. In case you didn't get it. Yo, sometimes people be like, girl, I ain't gonna eat that, but you be eating ass. Cut the shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's about.
It's like I say, people who don't believe in meds, people who don't believe in over-the-counter prescription, people who don't believe in prescription. But are you vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian? Do you work out? Do you take care of any other vessel in your body? No, you're just ignorant. Okay, because to me personally, and this is my opinion, I can respect, anti-COVID vaxxers, flu vaxxers. I get it. I can respect it. I got the flu one year when I didn't get the flu vaccine. I almost died.
Girl.
So a bitch gets the flu vaccine, especially after I had my daughter. But I didn't do it for any other reason that I just forgot. But it's like, I have a hard time respecting people who don't believe in vaccinations or don't believe in meds for mental health issues or don't do therapy or don't believe in anything to better yourself. Or don't believe in Dayquil, NyQuil, over the counter, anything for allergy because it's not, they don't want to put in their body or they don't want to put in their kids or whatever. But you out here ordering DoorDash 4 or 5 times a week. I'm confused. Because if you eat in McDonald's, PSA, bitch, you getting more than there is in a COVID vaccination. Because the meat at McDonald's is a step above dog food. Okay? Just saying. And a bitch like a cheeseburger every now and then. I gets me a fry. On the way to Romeo, we stopped at McDonald's. I am trust, but I also get my vaccinations. I also work out. I also eat kale. Like, life is about balance in my opinion, and those are my boundaries.
And you can't be offended by people's boundaries. If you're offended
100%.
by people's boundaries, some people be like, hey.
No. You know what people's boundaries translate at? Oh, she thinks she's too good.
And you can't be responsible for other motherfuckers either. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so crazy that, like I was saying, like, going out when I was younger, you know, like, I understand if people get drunk and then you got to look out for your friends. That's totally different. When you're tipsy and then, you know, there's people that's trying to take advantage or exploit people, whatever. That's different, right? But you should not, if you're sober, a healthy boundary is not to let people exploit or take advantage of you. You have to set that boundary. And you know what it is because it feels bad. It feels bad.
Tap into that feeling.
You know what I'm saying?
Because that feeling, that gut, that intuition, that anxiety that builds up. I know I learned when I was working for Ellen, unfortunately, that my anxiety and my anxiety sits in my stomach. Everything made me nauseous. I lost 20 pounds. I couldn't go to the bathroom. They thought I had a parasite, all this stuff. It ended up being stress because why? I was holding all the feelings and the instinct and intuition I felt about working there, about not, about I don't want to be here. It doesn't match up with me morally and ethically, and it's just not feeding me, blah, blah, blah. Granted, I was there for much longer than I should have been, but I held it in my stomach. And it's a feeling. And I don't want to get off topic, but what we don't realize is that when we don't set these boundaries of like, you know what, I'm not going to work in a place, for instance, I'm not going to work in a place that doesn't feed me. Yeah, we all got to get money. We all got to get a check. But guess what? You could be working at Costco with a bunch of dope ass people and not deal with the stress and anxiety that you're dealing with in an office. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, the not setting of the boundaries, being married with how you feel, which I want you to talk about, is so important to listen to that. And a lot of times we have this feeling of anxiety, like even in a romantic relationship, or you like,
it turns into that.
You're sitting in the space of unknown. Like, it just doesn't feel good. I don't know where this is going, blah, blah, blah. But it festers in your stomach. And long story short, it will lead to other health issues. It is proven. And we had a conversation with Noelle, who's a therapist, who's going to be amazing. We're going to launch that podcast in a few weeks. And it's scientifically proven that everything is connected. That anxiety you're holding, that feeling of like, I don't know, because you haven't set those boundaries, that shit will give you high blood pressure, a freaking stroke, a heart attack, obviously on a bigger scale, depending how long you're holding this. What is it that you're holding? Because you haven't come to peace with the ability to be like, this shit don't feel good and I got to do something about it.
And when you start, and when you're there, you have to like ground yourself in it and hold your ground, right? And be like, nope, this shit don't feel good.
That hold your ground. That's the hard.
You gotta hold, and I know it's hard, but like we always talk about, it's work. It's work, and it's very hard when love is involved, right? Or the feels, right? When you don't know what it is yet, like, we don't know, like, oh my God, like, I can't call him a man, but I can't. But we've been doing this, but you know what I'm saying? There's always like that little area. And to me, in our age now, like, and we have listeners that are in their 30s and in their 20s. You can define it. You can ask what this is. And if you lose that person because you want to define it, then fuck them.
Basically.
Because you are amazing. You should not be trying to be somebody else because there's a boundary that you have set In your head, you're like, okay, well, I've dated him for a couple months. We've had sex. We've shared spaces. He's met some of my friends. Like, we're boyfriend, girlfriend. Like, but I don't want to be the first one to say that I love him. I don't want to be the first one to say, do you want to be my... Why not?
But you know what's crazy, Z, that you say that, because I feel like on social media a lot lately, or in the past year, I've seen a lot of, like these funny memes where it's like, when you're mad, but you can't be mad because he's your man, but he's not your man, but he is your man, but blah, 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 blah. And I feel like a lot of people are in these situations where it's almost like you open the door to it for whatever reason and it feels good for a little bit. But then when feelings get involved, you're like, well, really, what are we? What are we doing? And Pierre, it's cool. If you set your boundary from the beginning, this is what it is. But it's also okay that a year in, you start to feel like, oh, I'm blurry. Like this shit is getting blurry and it doesn't feel the way it used to feel.
And it's not pouring into me.
Exactly.
Right. But the thing is, right, like, I much rather, and I learned this early, I much rather be known as the woman that knows what the fuck she want, the boundary, and let them talk about that shit. Let them go and say, well, no, I ain't gonna talk to her because she wants a relationship. So then the motherfuckers that want a relationship, they're gonna approach me because that's what they know I want. Right? If you're loosey-goosey on what the fuck it is that you want, then the loosey-goosiness is going to come your way. Point blank. You know, and I said this when we went to our event. You know, when people talk about how little, whether it is getting a second home being little, whether it is having a side hustle being little, whether it is having a small business on the side being little, you got to take that little out of it, because if you keep talking about it being little, that's what you're going to get back. So that's what I mean. Like, if you're talking about
that's that boundary that you set. You've set that boundary. So how are you ever going to grow from the boundary you keep speaking into existence and setting for yourself? Oh, my little side hustle.
Right. Exactly.
No. My little lake house. You got a lake house, boo. like
we Puerto Rican, motherfucker. Like, I don't know too many motherfuckers got a second home.
Lake and house. Okay. Give me the lake.
I know motherfuckers that got one home. Equidao. Motherfuckers in apartments. I know motherfuckers got one home.
Exactly.
And they fucking be balling like they got a mansion. Motherfucker, you got a regular home. I'm gonna need you to take a couple steps back. I'm proud. I'm happy. Congratulations. But in the setting of boundaries, you also have to respect other people's boundaries. So let's say, as in the road that I was on, right? If the guy that I'm interested in is loosey-goosey, but I want a relationship, why would you go on and be loosey-goosey with him? That's not what the fuck you want. You have to respect his boundary too. That's his boundary. He telling you, nah, I don't want nothing. So you think you're going to change that? I think I posted something on Instagram a couple weeks back when I was like, girl, you think you're going to change him? You're just going to be part of the crew. You're just going to be in construction with the rest of the bitches.
What is it
when
called?
I saw this, I was like, I got the post.
1 of 5 in the what did we say about our puto? He got not a roster, a rotating. He
has a rotating roster.
Rotating roster, exactly. But what I did respect about him is that he's upfront with this. Like, I'm not looking at, I'm not in his face.
But he did say, if the right person comes along, I will drop all them girls. But it has to be the right person.
But that's a boundary.
Right.
That's a boundary.
But in those boundaries and whatever,
it doesn't sound good. Like, trust me, it doesn't sound good as a woman. Let's say you're falling for a man, to hear that he's open to a relationship if it's the right person, but you're the one he's just fucking. And he's not interested in a relationship with you. So you're not the person. You get what I'm saying?
Right. And you're not all of a sudden going to become the person either.
Right.
You're not going to all of a sudden become the person. It doesn't matter how long. There's people that have been in relationship with people for like 10 years and they still don't have a title. I'm like, and not that the title matters, because sometimes people live with each other.
It does.
Like, look at Kirk Russell and Goldie Hawn.
It does matter.
No, but if Goldie Hawn and Kirk Russell, for them two, it works. They're
private.
Works,
I strongly believe they got married years ago privately.
You think so?
100%. But that's just me. But you're right. They're a great example how it works for them. Dolly Parton and her husband, who's no one ever seen, barely pictures of him. The boundary for her is she keeps her relationship private. They have been together all these years. I don't know if he passed away or they're still together. You know who Dolly Parton is. You have no idea who her husband is. You know, that's a boundary she set.
But that's her boundary.
She wanted to protect her love.
And she was respected by that, right? She's respected. Her needs are being met because guess what? They happy. But I think that if you're setting healthy, because you know there's also bad boundaries to set, right? A guy or a woman could be like, I'm fucking everybody out here. That's my boundary. Fuck it.
But baby, in honesty, that's having no boundaries.
Right.
That's literally the definition of no boundaries.
But that's still a kind of boundary. Having no boundary is still a boundary.
Well, there it is. And you heard it here first.
No, but you know, just setting those healthy boundaries can just have you have less anxiety. Yes. Have you having less like these thoughts like this, like Rocio said that we were going to have this podcast about this, that self-talk, right? The less anxiety. And then because FOMO is real and they made up the word FOMO for a fucking reason, fear of missing out, right? So you're in a relationship or a situationship or a friends with benefits or whatever, right? This is a perfect example of this shit because I've had conversations with people that have been in them and they're like, Thanksgiving is coming up. I don't know if you're going to come spend time with me. If you're going to come spend time with me the night before. If you're going to come spend time with me the night after.
That like, right there creates so much anxiety.
That's what I'm saying. So then that's not just the anxiety. Then you're in the space where you're like the self-respect starts fucking. It's just so many bitches in your head now, right? So then you having all these battles. All this shit is happening, right? The motherfucker don't even know this is going on. He called you to fucking set up whatever the fuck is going on, and you going off on him, right? That's like my husband and I, right? And this is totally sidebarring from the shit. I'll have a fucking dream about him and some bitch trying to pick him up, and then I'll be mad as hell the next day.
Who the fuck is Vanessa?
You messing around with somebody? Because I had a dream, and you know I'm an empath, so motherfucker, I'm gonna put your ass on ice. He'd be like, what the fuck did I do? He'd be freshly woken up. He still got shit in his eye. He'd be like, what the fuck did I do? What happened? And I was like, in my dream? You're like, you want to know what happened in my dream?
Who is Vanessa?
Who the fuck is this bitch? Better not be fucking with nobody else. He's like, what the fuck? I don't know.
I was literally sleeping.
Oh my God. Nah, but I was going to say, just to end my little rant, but to help to set that healthy, it just, I think it brings people to respect you more too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because if you stand your ground and you're saying, oh, fuck you. No, I told you A, B, and C, you didn't do it. So that it's your fault. Like it wasn't, you had the blueprint. So it's your fault. Like I gave you the boundary. Like I gave it to you. So, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think it is less anger and resentment and just all those things that make you feel bad. And we all know what it feels like. It doesn't feel good. It's the opposite of when you see snow for the first time and you love snow and it's Christmas is coming and it's like, oh my God. Versus, I can't stand the cold and the snow and you know what I'm saying? It feels bad. It feels bad. I find joy in like my nephews opening presents. Like that shit feel good. But when motherfuckers be mad about they sitting there and he was supposed to come over and he didn't come over, and I'll be like, oh my God, I feel so bad because I feel it. It's like it's fucked up. Like why would you even set yourself up to feel like that? You gotta, you know, like so. You know the boundaries, yo. That shit, and you brought up work.
It takes, girl. So for me, boundaries takes, I'm still working at it. It's funny. I was reading a book called I'm reading a book now called called Boundaries, but it's like boundaries, even in the sense of like, in the book, it gives an example of this woman, right? Who's always a giver, poor. So she has she has to do this costume for her daughter. It's due the next day. So she plans, like, let's say it's Thursday, it's due on Friday. She plans to get home on Thursday. She's going to dedicate her time to finishing this costume, blah, blah, blah. She has to cook. She has to make sure her kids get in bed, blah, blah, blah. So she's going to dedicate her night to that. Her mom shows up at her house. So she's like, respectfully, she's like, of course, come in, blah, 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 blah. And she says to her mom, do you mind if I finish this costume while we're chatting? And the mom is like, sure. It's just like her mom is a widow and her dad passed away. So the mom is like, sure, of course, ever since your dad passed, I'm just very lonely, da, 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 da. So then without saying, so you're just going to sew this costume together, not pay attention to me when your dad passed away 10 years ago, blah, blah, blah. So the guilt sets in. And the woman doesn't by the time the mom leaves, she's super tired. But then it goes through the next morning where she's up at 6. She's got to get the kids ready. By 7:30, she has to get the kids ready, get herself ready, be out the door, and have this costume done. Right? So, of course, now she doesn't have the costume done. She's like, you know what? I'll finish it when I get to work. I'm out by 4. I'll finish it and get it to the school at night. At 3:30, her boss, who is a leper, is like, hey, I really need you to finish this, review this presentation for me, blah, blah, blah. And as the narrator is talking, it's like, this is something this boss does all the time, waits last minute, which reading the presentation means her redoing it, refining it, which is work, which takes up more of her time. And she agrees to it. So it just gives you examples of how she had opportunities to set boundaries at every stage in what happened within 12 to 24 hours and never did. And as a result, she didn't do what she really wanted to do, which finish the costume for her daughter because she just didn't have the time. And then guess what? Your mom, she's back at her house. Your boss, he's fine. You doing the presentation. You stressed at work, blah, blah, blah. And then what? You still didn't accomplish your goal of finishing this costume for your kid, which is what mattered to her in her heart, which still has nothing to do with her. You get what I'm saying? All these things are servicing other people through the process. So for me, setting boundaries is intentional, constant work and being ready for the feedback to be, because what happens for me sometimes when I set boundaries is but they're not where I am in my journey. So they're not going to understand the boundary and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. You get what I'm saying? So I know I need to set the boundary or also right. But also it's I know I need to set this boundary, but what if I lose this person by setting this boundary? Or what if I set this boundary, or what if it's perceived negatively because then you don't love me? You get what I'm saying? Not a friendship, a sister, a boyfriend, a lover. It's which I won't share, but I recently had to make a huge decision a few months ago, which was probably the hardest decision of my life, of having to be enough is enough. I need to set this boundary and I need to do something because this will not be my story, and that comes with still dealing with a lot of guilt, but always coming back to being you have to do what you have to do to be healthy and present for yourself and then for your daughter. Because for a long time, I was not healthy. I was not present for myself. And I was literally living to cater to other people. And the funny thing is, it's like a functioning alcoholic. I was a functioning non-boundary setter, but I was exhausted and mentally drained.
And we were talking about the flexibility, right? Awesome. Perfect. To change, whatever. But I wrote it down because it came real quick while you were talking. The flexibility is not giving in though. You can't be flexible for them. You can't flex it to fit them, right? Because when we were talking about being grounded and making sure that you are grounded in your boundary and what you want to set, and whether it's learning to say no, whether it's being assertive about your boundary, whether you need to safeguard your boundary, whether it's, I'm having word vomit. This shit is just getting support. Sometimes you need support. Sometimes you got to make sure that in your boundary, you just bounce it off somebody. Be like, yo, I set this boundary. Am I bugging? Like, I think this is a good boundary to set. But then this person did this, or this person felt like the boundary was crazy. Am I bugging? It's okay to get that banter or that talk with somebody, you know, because in that moment, you got to put power. To me, you got to put power in the moment, because sometimes that's all you got is that moment.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? To be assertive, to be like, that's it.
The negative self-talk in there, mix the maybe I'm going to be lonely in there, mix the like, what if this person perceives it this way, mix the what if they never come back if you set the boundary to be like, bruh, this, or I'm done, you know, but it's, as you said, in that flexibility, you also have to be okay and able to deal with what comes with that. If the person is not on the same journey as you, the interpretation of you, for instance, you know, you find yourself, you need space in a relationship, blah, blah, blah. But then you're like, damn, I really need a Costco run. Fuck, I don't want to go. You know what I'm saying? Are you willing, and this is just like a minimal example, are you willing to step out of that boundary that you set of being like, this needs to be done, and be like, hey, can you do a Costco run for me, blah, 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 and drop it off at my house? Now you're opening the door to the person potentially interpreting like, I'm back in. Here's my segue back in. While in your head, you're like, I just need to get this done and I need to get what I need. You know, so you have to be open to flexibility, yes, but open to what that flexibility comes with, and potentially flexibility meaning now I'm taking 3 steps back. Or do you be like, fuck it, I'm gonna have to figure this shit out.
Well, I think that you have
rock out in your season.
Yeah, you have to like be okay with it's not your job, like I said earlier, it's not your job to fix other people.
100%.
It's not your job. It's okay if your boundary makes them angry. That's your problem. Like, this is my boundary. Why are you mad about it?
Right.
Why are you mad about my boundary? Right? It's okay, like I said, to say no. It's okay. Like, because to me, like, when we do the self-talk, a lot of the self-talk is negative. Well, in my head, like when I do the self-talk, it's never
always.
And I'm the best cheerleader, right? Because you know I'm the best fucking cheerleader. I will hold the whole.
But the funny thing is,
the whole fucking parade your ass and everything. But it's okay to be like,
into others.
I am enough. I am enough. I don't have to anticipate your needs. I have to anticipate mine. I have to anticipate what the fuck is gonna happen, like you said, if I no longer want to fuck with you. I gotta be okay with being by myself. I gotta be okay with, you know, all those examples that you had said. But you have to be in those feelings, and that, again, I'm bringing it back to the feels, because sometimes these boundaries will make you feel fucked up. But you have to
or lonely, or dickless,
and but nobody has to agree with me too. Nobody has to agree with. They're not going to, because they're not their boundary. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you set a boundary, people aren't like, oh my god, that's the best boundary. Unless it's like a generalized one.
Because we're not, as humans, we're not accustomed to being told no, or especially now in society where everything is so instantaneous, and really, you know, there's so many ways to figure out how to get things that you're so not accustomed to someone who is strongly setting their bound, like, this doesn't feel good anymore. I don't like the way I feel, and this is not going to work. You know, we're so accustomed to whatever. You know, like I'll like figure my way back in, or figure my way to get around it, or plainly not respecting people's boundaries.
Like, they have these you know, on TikTok and on Instagram, when they have the little girl or boy and the mama saying, okay, say your affirmations. I am beautiful. I am enough.
Which I do with Sophie all the time.
You know what I'm saying? We need to do that for ourselves.
100%.
Okay? I have the right to feel the way that I am feeling. I am enough. I am responsible to make me happy. I am beautiful. I am the shit. This boundary is my boundary because that's the boundary I want it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, why can't we do that? Like, I don't see any fucking videos or memes about people doing that for themselves. I have fucking little stickies that I put around. If you go in my bathroom, at the bottom, like, I have this thing that I had this lady make for me where it says "You are beautiful." I have another sign over the toilet. I have motivational shit everywhere because I love that my kids not only see it, like, just like I used to have a map on the wall when they were in elementary school, and I'm just like, just look at the map, just look at the map, just look at the map. And when they took their test, they was like, "Ma, I got 100. That map worked, right?" But so I say that to say that you see them, you read them, you're sitting in them all the time, so you're seeing them, and then when they're having an issue or they're in school or whatever the hell, they're like, "Oh, Ma, remember that quote? You are enough. Oh, Ma, I remember that quote. Yep. You are beautiful. Or only good vibes here, Ma. Only good vibes here." Like, yes, you have to make sure that you're filling your head up with good shit too, because the devil, the devil be running and be.
First of all, the enemy of the minds is a spectacular book. I've read it probably 3 times in seasons that I've needed to remind myself. But I love that you said that, because on our mirror, I have you are loved, that I have a decal that says "You are loved." And in Sophie's room, I have a picture that says "You got this, mija." And I always try to tell her. And the funny thing is, I always start my day with loud affirmations, or I try. I'm not perfect, in front of her, and we'll do like short meditations, and she's gotten much better at them. But also for me, I have tattoos everywhere that really remind, like, I have a tattoo on my wrist that says "How human of me." And at times I'll put my hands on my heart and just kind of like have grace with myself and read it and be like, how human of you. You know, like, how human of me to love, how human of me to believe in love, how human of me to make a mistake, how human of me to have been impatient with my daughter. Like, it's just like, for me, I read that tattoo and I say, how human of me, I hold my heart and be like, you know what, I take this breath and then move forward. Or like, how human of me to have to set this boundary because it doesn't fucking feel good anymore. But I think that comes with age. It comes with maturity. It's like, I wish I would have known when I was younger that it's 100% essential to set boundaries in high school with friends, like with shitty friendships where you're like, oh my God, you're so worried about what they think of you or who's not talking to you this week or whatever. But it's okay to set boundaries because you don't make me feel good. This friendship doesn't make me feel good. Then you get older in relationships. It's the importance of a simple thing, like, it just doesn't feel good. I can't even, it's like we're so caught up in having to justify then our feeling of like, but why doesn't it feel good? But what happened? It doesn't feel good. And then it's not until you get older, you don't necessarily have to become a mother. But I know for me, as soon as I became a mom, my intuition was literally my compass. I don't always listen to it, but I usually come back to the compass and be like, bitch. She's like, bitch, you should have checked in with me like a year ago because I was telling you this. But I'm glad you're back and you listening to me, because that intuition and that feeling and that humanistic in you and that ability to be like, how human of me, like, how human of me to believe that my cousin wouldn't have done this to me and she did. You know what? And then you make peace with it. You reflect, you recognize, reflect, and release that shit. I literally tell myself.
I'm glad that you brought it back to that human, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all human. And like I said at the event that we was at, we all come in the same way. We all are born. It doesn't matter if you came in, if they cut you out your mother belly, if you came in with your knees, with your legs out. It don't matter if you was breached. It don't matter. We were all born, and we're all going to leave the same way. Different ways. You probably get shot. You probably get stabbed.
But we all dying.
But we all die. We all die. So you have to make sure that you maintain those healthy boundaries, because I think that they're crucial for maintaining healthy relationships. Okay, when you're younger, you're juggling all these. Oh my God, how are they gonna feel about me? Oh my God, if I do that, oh my God, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. You have to be able to navigate and know Who are the people that fill you up? Who are the, if you feel, and honestly, you could really start filtering out these motherfuckers when you set your boundary and they don't fucking respect it. Oh, why don't you respect my boundary?
That's
What
the huge
happened?
red flag.
That's a huge red flag.
And almost is the huge confirmation of like, I did the right thing.
Right. Right. Because, and also helps diminish disappointment. It helps, take away like the bad feels. You don't want the bad feel. If you get around people that make you feel bad, and this is not even on boundary. If you get around people that make you feel bad, goddamn, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's people that live with drama. They love drama. They need to have it in order to fix it and in order to be okay. And that's traumatic to me, right? Because I know people like that. And then they get around me, they're like fucking falling apart, crying and shit, because I don't fall into that. Oh my God, are you okay? But what happened? I'm like, bruh, it seems like every time I get around you, you going through some shit. What is going on?
Mm-hmm.
You are the common denominator. What the fuck is happening?
You're making excuses. You're constantly making excuses for not setting your boundaries.
All these
when
fucking
at the end
people
of the day,
can't be wrong. Like, you the same motherfucker saying the same shit about 100 fucking people. Maybe you need to work on yourself and set some of those fucking boundaries.
100%. 100%.
Yo, this was good.
And we could talk about this shit forever.
We didn't even tap into work. I was
literally going to say, boundaries in the workplace would be a whole episode in itself.
Yeah, because you got race. You got race. You got there's
microaggressions, race, setting boundaries when you're the over exceller and they look for you to then translate something because you happen to speak Spanish and feeling like you have to say yes when really that's not part of your job.
Oh, like, no, we said yes, but they paid us $50 an hour.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, okay, I'll do it. What's the compensation for that? What would you have paid a consultant to translate this? I'll do it for a little less.
The compensation. We were like, this is what this company does. This is what this company does.
But that's because you guys were a group of women who understood boundaries.
Absolutely.
But that takes time. Like there's absolutely, like my little cousin was working at a retail store. I don't know if it was like Journeys or something. And, they require when you come in, they tell you a sales goal to hit that day. And, and if you don't hit the sales goal or whatever, but she don't work on commission. So I'm like, I'm confused on how you're requiring a sales goal when they're not working on commission. I understand a sales goal for the store. So you want to interact with customers, blah, blah, blah. But how do you require a sales goal from a salesperson who doesn't work on commission? So there's no incentive. So no, what you're doing is taking young people for granted because they don't understand how business works. And you're like teetering over their head that if you don't meet these sales goals, there's repercussions. You get a warning, you get fired. And by the way, the turnaround in retail is so high that whatever, so it's like, but she doesn't know how to set a boundary. She's just like, oh, this is a sales goal that they're asking me to set. And when she had the conversation with me, I was like, you don't work on commission. That's not how it works. I was like, girl, you go to work, you get your check, you get your discount, and you fucking keep it moving.
And then that's on that, right? But then there's shit like, I was talking to a friend of mine that was like, I'm so sick and tired of my boss. He used to yell at me all the time, and now he stopped yelling at me and gave me a promotion. And then something happened, and somebody needed something. Long story short, he started yelling at me again. I said, what? No, that is not okay.
Honestly,
that is not okay at all.
In any situation, specifically professionally, is if you haven't heard the sign, if you haven't felt it in your gut, feel it now. You need to get the fuck out. Okay? Because that is toxic, and that creates anxiety, and that will get you sick. Like, so sick. The yelling, like inappropriate behavior, and more importantly,
and then you can't say
like 10
back.
years ago.
Woo!
Exactly. Nah, not like 10 years ago where I remember I put a lawsuit in, that I can't discuss because there was a settlement, but I I put a lawsuit in, a race related lawsuit, a discriminatory lawsuit. And when I met with the attorney, I told her all the things that have been happening in the office as a senior executive, blah, blah, blah. And then she looks at me. She's one of the top attorneys in New York. And she goes, unfortunately, he's an asshole, 100%. Like, it's confirmed that he's an asshole and he's inappropriate. But basically, I needed to have like a recording of him calling me a spick to have a case. I say that to say, fast forward, things aren't like that now. Now, microaggressions, how you're made to feel, how someone speaks to you are valid cases for you to, I'm not telling anyone to go and sue their boss or a company, but these are now how you feel is valid. Before, how you felt or how you were made to feel or the gaslighting was not valid enough for you to do anything about it. So if you are being mistreated in a professional setting and you are not able to set a boundary, you need to get the fuck out because you're going to get sick. You're going to get very sick.
I just want to say I tend to like look off when I get passionate, and I know people are probably used to it already. I tend to look off and look up and look down, and sometimes I'm writing notes because when you say something, I don't want to cut you off. I want to write something down so that I want people to know that I'm not ignoring Rocio, that I'm not ignoring you guys.
Because I would have been like, is Diana here? Is she paying attention?
No. I literally like to I take notes. I like to look up stuff, like healthy boundaries. So like that, I'm giving you stuff that I know would work for me or that has worked for me, because we're not we're not professional therapists or whatever, but we are professional humans that are living amongst other humans, and we know what it is to feel, and we know what's working for us, what doesn't work for us, and we could apply, maybe you could apply it, and maybe you hear something that you catch or whatever. Another thing I wanted to say, if you heard any background noise, my son, even though he heard me recording, he still made 2 egg sandwiches and was walking around like I wasn't recording. So I'm sorry if you heard any of that. And then the last thing I want to say is, Rocio, you wanted me to remind you about commercials.
Oh, yes. So, damn, I should have said it at the opening, but we'll do a reels about it. So Cositas is growing. We are so excited about what's to come. We have some live events planned, especially at the top of next year. And I told Diana that we are ready to start taking on brands who want to advertise on Cositas. So for instance, the girl who colors my hair, the girl who does my lashes, the person we have interviewing once she sends us some of our products, we'll talk about her stuff. So we are opening up the opportunity for people to advertise on Cositas. We will record a drop. We will have it play in the middle of the episode. We can figure out what comes with a package. The pricing is not astronomical. And, we can work with a code or whoever says Cositas when they come to you. There's different ways to do it, but we believe that we are ready to take on some sponsorship opportunities, especially as we grow. We would love people to come on early. And I think it could be really exciting and good for your business. Like, I know that if I'm looking for a lash lady, I know a bunch of other people who are probably looking for a lash girl. If I'm looking for a nail shop, I know there's a lot of other people who listen who probably want a new nail tech. So, or if you want to promote something else, we are now open to taking on sponsors and ads. So that's super exciting.
Yeah.
So we love y'all. We want you to set your boundaries. We want you to know your worth. We want you to know that how you feel matters. And we want you to know that it's hard, that it's easier to say, set your boundaries than it is to do, but it's all intentional work. It's a work in progress. And I believe in me. I believe in Diana, and I believe in you.
There you go.
All right. We love y'all.
Thank y'all. Share us.
Bye. Gracias for listening to Cositas Mommy Never Told Me. We hope you loved this episode. Make sure you subscribe, follow, and share Cositas Mommy Never Told Me on all your social channels. Todas las redes sociales. And don't forget, if you want in on the real tea and see all of our reactions to the craziness, watch this episode on YouTube. ¡Qué bochinche!